Many moons ago, when I first went freelance and I was buying all my own kit, colleagues gave me good advice. They told me to spend all of my money on lights and lenses, because these are the important things. These are the things that give you your look. They never go out of date. You'll always need them. Buy wisely, they said, and they'll last you a lifetime. What a total load of I mean, it might have been true for the first 50 years of this TV industry when tungsten ruled. And I have to admit, I've got another problem because I'm an early adopter and that has a price. And the price I paid for one of the first pro bi-colour LED lights was very high. The light panels one by one. Sounded like a great idea. But the green cast was so bad I could only ever use this as a backlight. And the reliability wasn't great either. It was basically expensive rubbish. Flexible panels seem like a good idea, especially if you're travelling. The trouble is, you've still got all these multiple little points of light, or very fiddly softboxes. So for the last 5 years or so, my go-to soft key light has been the Keenoflow Diva Light LED, and I've loved it. It's an RGB LED that's super colour accurate. The quality of light you get from this is really soft and it works beautifully on skin tones. It also has this very effective honeycomb grid that cuts out a lot of the light. The whole thing is not cheap though, and far from being a lifetime purchase. I've noticed that recently lights have become almost a fashion item. Different designs become the trendy thing to have. And the current trendy light is the COB light, chip on board. You've basically got multiple LED chips all bonded very closely together. They're so close it looks like one light source, and there are lots of advantages to doing this. Obviously it's smaller, but it's also much simpler than having to connect every LED individually, so hopefully more reliable. It's also very bright for its size. Now, COB lights have been around for a few years now, but the trend really started to take off with the Aperture 120D. The genius move was fitting a Bowens mount to the front of this light, which then opens up a whole new world of light modifiers. I know stills photographers have been using these forever, but TV video guys had largely gone a different route. Is this another effect of the hybrid camera, the merging of stills and video gear? Anyway, unusually for me, I did a lot of research into COB lights, and there's quite a few different makes you can choose from, all of them usually with the Bowens mount on the front. There's even a couple of what you might call Aperture 120D killers for considerably less money. But the result of all this research? Well, I bought the GODOX VL150. The build quality of this light is superb. It's solid and everything feels well made. Plus GODOX seem very good at listening to users and improving what they make. It all comes in a very nice padded bag. And with the standard reflector, the version I bought also has some barn doors with a removable grid and even some coloured gel holders. It's very light, at just under 2 kilograms, compact too. Something that's really important with these lights is the tilt lock. If you're going to hang heavy light modifiers onto the front, you really need this to be a very secure lock, and this one is. There's rubber gaskets between the teeth that hold everything nice and solid. Like a lot of lights I've got at the moment, this comes with a separate mains unit, which is a bit of a shame that it can't be incorporated into the main controller. But then the main controller does come with a V-lock, so you can run it on camera batteries. And the good news is GODOX have been extremely generous with the cable length, so it's flexible and very easy and quick to rig it. It's just a shame that it's not quite as neat as it could be. The controller is very straightforward and the light can be adjusted from 100% to 1% in a linear way. So 50% is half the light output of 100%. And it's amazing how many lights don't do that. You also get a little remote, which is very useful for adjusting levels while you look at the pictures. As you'd expect, these COB lights do generate some heat at higher light outputs, so you need a fan to keep it cool. The fan on this GODOX VL150 is really good. It's whisper quiet. Can you hear it? It's on now. To be honest, the fan in my camera makes more noise, and I've yet to have any complaints from sound recordists. But the important question is, what's the quality of the light like? For a hard source, the standard reflector does a great job at focusing the light into a very bright beam. The specs say over 60,000 lux at 1 meter, technically referred to as f-bright if you're looking straight at it. And all of that is at 5,600 degree Kelvin or daylight, and a TLCI figure of 95%. Now that is a lot of light from 150 watts, so the next question is, how do you modify all that light? I've got two different sized collapsible domes from LAOFAS. They both work in a similar way. So you get the dome, multiple diffusers and the fabric grid all in one neat bag. It took a little while to rig the first time, but I found that I can leave them rigged with all the diffusion and the fabric grid even when packed back into the bag. So setting up is now really quick. Out of the bag, just click these rods into place and that's it. I find it easiest to mount the dome onto the light with the back still open so you've got something to hold on to. And that is one large soft source. The smaller dome I've got, it's not really a dome. It's a new product from LAOFAS and it's a collapsible beauty dish. Traditionally, a beauty dish is a hard dish that bounces light from a smaller reflector placed directly in front of the light source. So you get that nice soft light, but from a smaller area. This beauty dish looks lovely when you're lighting interviews. In fact, I think I almost prefer it to the larger dome. And obviously if you're in tight spaces or people's homes, then it's much easier to manage. Now, obviously at this point, I'd have arranged a very expensive model with perfect skin just to show you the sort of quality that you can get from these lights. But we've just started a second lockdown in the UK, so you'll have to make do with my old face. Looking at just one light in a dark room and using the Kino Flow as a benchmark, you can see that it still stands up well and there's almost no spill from the honeycomb grid. So let's look at the VL150 with the very large softbox. Well, the light does look softer to me and it feels like it's much closer. But because of the size of this softbox, it's almost impossible to stop light spilling onto the wall in the background. There's actually another problem as well in that it's so big you can't put it where you want to because it gets in the way of the camera shot. I do like the quality of the light though, and it's amazing for product shots. Finally, the VL150 with the 85cm LAOFAS beauty dish. And I think this is the best compromise. Strangely, the colours look slightly warmer, I don't know why that is, but the light is just really soft. You can spot it on the nose shadows, and the whole thing is more controllable because it's a smaller dish. I think that's my favourite look. I tried the whole test again in a much smaller room with a bit of backlight, and got much the same results. To my eyes, the beauty dish wins, and you've got the added advantage of a perfectly round light source, which if you see any reflections or anything in somebody's eyes, it just looks nicer than a hard edge. So considering the light quality you can get for the price you pay, it seems like a no-brainer to me. I really love being able to have a very large light source, but run it at lower light levels much closer to the subject. It gives a light that just wraps around the face in, I think, a very pleasing way. And these are definitely the softest light sources I've used so far. They give you a look which is bang on trend right now. And if you want to follow fashion, I can highly recommend the GODOX VL150s. Thanks for watching.